Have you ever stopped to wonder why you think the way you do? Why you prefer certain things, hold certain beliefs, or react in specific ways? So often we believe our thoughts and feelings are completely our own. But what if I told you many of your responses are not entirely yours? Responses, your ideas about the world, even your dreams. They have been quietly shaped, molded, and handed to you from the moment you were born. This, my friends, is the powerful, invisible force of social conditioning. It's the process through which we learn the unspoken rules of life from our surroundings, our families, our friends, our culture, and everything we see and hear. It's not a grand conspiracy. It's simply how we learn to navigate our world. Think of it like being handed a script for a play you didn't know you were in. You learn how to speak, what's considered polite, what's funny, what's scary, and what's beautiful. This script is written by society. It's written in the gentle way your mother soothes you, the stern tone your father uses when you misbehave, the stories you read in books, and the characters you watch on television. Social conditioning is the quiet hum in the background of your life, constantly teaching you how to belong. It's the reason you might feel an automatic sense of comfort with things that are familiar, and a slight unease with things that are different. It's the invisible thread that connects you to your community, for better or for worse. This process is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's essential for our survival. Imagine if every single person had to figure out everything from scratch. How to communicate, how to cooperate. Social conditioning provides us with a foundation, a starting point. It gives us language, customs, and a shared understanding that allows us to connect with one another. It teaches us to say please and thank you, to wait our turn in line, and to offer help to someone who has fallen. These are the beautiful parts of the conditioning that bind us together in a tapestry of shared humanity. It's the software that comes pre-installed, allowing us to function within our society. The challenge, however, comes when we don't realize this programming is running in the background. When we mistake the script we've been given for the only truth that exists, we limit our own potential and our ability to understand others. The goal isn't to erase all conditioning, that would be impossible. The goal is to become aware of it. It's about learning to read the script you've been handed and then deciding which lines you want to keep, which ones you want to rewrite, and which ones you want to throw away completely. So, how does this powerful conditioning actually happen? It's not magic. It's a learning process psychologists have studied for years. It mainly happens in three simple but profound ways. The first way is through association. Our brains learn to connect things that aren't naturally related. Think about the sound of an ice cream truck's music on a hot summer day. As a child, you heard that jingle and then you got a delicious cold treat. After a few times, just hearing that music alone was enough to make you feel excited. Jingle equals happiness. The second path is rewards and punishments. It's the most straightforward form of learning. When you do something that your society approves of, you are often rewarded. A smile, a word of praise, a good grade, even a promotion. These positive responses make you want to repeat that behavior. On the other hand, when you do something that is frowned upon, you might face punishment. A scolding. A look of disappointment, being left out by your friends, more serious consequences. This system of rewards and punishments shapes our actions from a very young age. The third, and perhaps most influential way we are conditioned, is by watching others. We are social creatures, and we learn by imitation. From the moment we are born, we watch the people around us, our parents, siblings, teachers, friends. We see how they act, how they talk, how they handle their emotions, and how they treat other people, and we copy them. A little boy might see his father fixing a car and want to play with toy tools. This isn't just about simple actions. We also learn our attitudes and beliefs by observing others. We absorb their fears, their prejudices, their joys, often without a single word being spoken. Association, rewards, and punishments. Observation. These three paths work together constantly, weaving a complex web of learned behaviors and beliefs. It's not just one thing, but a combination of all three, happening every single day of our lives. A child might learn to associate a certain brand of clothing with being cool, get complimented by friends for wearing it, and see all the popular kids at school wearing it. Let's look at how this conditioning shows up in our world every single day. One of the most fundamental examples is language. How did you learn to speak? You learned by listening to the people around you. You imitated the sounds, learned the words, and eventually understood the grammar. The language you speak shapes how you see the world. Some languages have many words for snow, while others have none. Some languages have formal ways, informal ways of addressing people, teaching you about social hierarchy from a young age. You were conditioned to speak a certain way, with a certain accent, and to use certain phrases that are common in your family and community. This is social conditioning at its most basic level, giving you the tools to communicate within your tribe. Another powerful example is gender roles. From the moment a baby's gender is announced, the conditioning begins. We often dress boys in blue and girls in pink. We give boys trucks action figures, encouraging them to be strong and adventurous. Marketing shot, split image showing a young boy playing with a toy truck and a young girl playing with a doll. We give girls dolls kitchen sets, encouraging them to be nurturing and domestic. Think about the phrases we use: boys don't cry, be a good girl. These messages, sent through toys, clothes, media, and direct comments, teach children what society expects of them based on their gender. This conditioning creates a set of unspoken rules about how boys and girls are supposed to act, what they should be interested in, and what jobs they should aspire to. Cultural norms are also a product of social conditioning. What you consider a normal breakfast, for example, is entirely dependent on where you grew up. For some, it's eggs and bacon. For others, it's a bowl of rice porridge, a croissant, or fish. The same goes for personal space. In some cultures, people stand very close to each other when they talk, and touching is common. In other cultures, that would be seen as an invasion of privacy. These are not things we are born knowing. They are behaviors we learn by observing and participating in our culture. We are conditioned to see our own cultural norms as the right way of doing things, and it can be jarring when we encounter people who do things differently. All of these examples, language, gender roles, cultural norms, show how deeply social conditioning is embedded in our lives. It's in the clothes we wear, the food we eat, the way we greet each other, and the aspirations we hold. So, who are the primary architects of this conditioning? Who holds the blueprints for the beliefs we build our lives upon? The process starts at home, with our families. Our parents and caregivers are our first teachers. They are the ones who give us our first lessons about the world. We learn our core values. We learn our beliefs about right and wrong. We learn ideas about family and relationships. A child raised in a home where politics are discussed at the dinner table will likely grow up politically aware. A child raised in a home that values art and music will probably develop an appreciation for creativity. Our family's beliefs about money, our family's beliefs about work, our family's beliefs about religion, our family's beliefs about love. Once we step out of the home, school becomes the next major architect of our minds. School is where we are formally introduced to the rules and expectations of the wider society. We learn to follow a schedule. It's more than a place for reading. It's more than a place for arithmetic. Schools teach our nation's history, our civic duties, our place in the world. The curriculum itself is a form of conditioning. The social environment, cliques and popularity contests, conditions us. It teaches us social hierarchies and the importance of fitting in. In today's world, another architect is more powerful than ever. The media, television shows, movies, news programs, social media, advertising. They show us what is considered beautiful. They show us what success looks like. They show us what we should want to buy. Characters on screen become role models for romantic relationships, friendships, and professional settings. Advertisements link products with feelings of happiness, freedom, and belonging. Social media conditions us to seek validation through likes and shares, shaping an idealized self. Our social conditioning doesn't just shape our outward behaviors, it fundamentally molds our inner world, including our attitudes and prejudices. Think of conditioning as a pair of glasses that you've been wearing since birth. You're so used to them that you don't even know you're wearing them. These glasses have a specific tint, or filter, that affects how you see everything. This filter is made up of all the messages you've received from your family, school, society. It influences what you believe is good or bad, right or wrong. safe, or dangerous. Your attitudes toward different groups of people, different political ideas, different lifestyles are all seen through this conditioned lens. This is how stereotypes and prejudices are born and passed down through generations. A stereotype is essentially a conditioned shortcut, a simplified belief about an entire group of people. If you grew up in an environment where you consistently heard negative things about a certain race, nationality, or religion, your brain learns to associate that group with those negative traits. Over time, this conditioning can lead to an automatic, unconscious prejudice. It's your conditioning kicking in before your conscious mind has a chance to think. This conditioning also affects our choices and limits our opportunities. For example, the social conditioning around gender roles can create powerful internal barriers. A woman conditioned to think math and science are for boys might doubt her own abilities. She might avoid advanced math classes. She might avoid pursuing a career in engineering. Similarly, a man conditioned to see vulnerability as weakness might struggle to express emotions, which can negatively impact his mental health and his relationships. The most challenging part is these conditioned attitudes feel like our own rational thoughts. I'm not prejudiced, I just think. It's not that I'm biased, it's just common sense that this is the conditioning defending itself. It's so deeply ingrained we mistake it for objective reality. Unpacking these attitudes requires courage and self-reflection. To really understand how this conditioning works, it helps to look at some of the famous experiments that first brought these ideas to light. The concepts are not just theories, they have been observed and tested. One of the most famous is the work of a Russian scientist named Ivan Pavlov from the early 1900s. Pavlov was actually studying digestion in dogs. He noticed the dogs would start to salivate, not just when they saw food, but also when they saw the lab assistant who usually fed them. He started by ringing a bell every time he was about to feed the dogs. After repeating it, bell, then food, bell, then food, something changed. The dogs began to salivate at the sound of the bell alone. A neutral signal had come to trigger a biological response. Decades later, Albert Bandura ran the Bobo doll experiment to see if children would imitate aggressive behavior. Children who had watched the aggressive adult were far more likely to attack the doll. They often imitated the exact same actions and words. This is observational learning. We don't need direct rewards or punishments to learn. We can learn by watching. After learning all of this, it's easy to feel a little discouraged. If we are so heavily conditioned by forces outside of our control, are we just puppets on a string? Do we have any real freedom or personal choice? The beautiful and empowering truth is that we do. Social conditioning is powerful, but it is not destiny. The single most important difference between us and Pavlov's dogs is our capacity for awareness. We can step back, observe our own thoughts and feelings, and question why we believe what we believe. This is the beginning of freedom. The moment you become aware of your conditioning, you are no longer completely controlled by it. Think of it this way: your conditioning is like an autopilot system in an airplane. It was programmed to keep you flying on a certain course. For a long time, it has guided you without you even noticing. It's efficient. It keeps you safe within the familiar skies of your culture. But you are the pilot. At any moment, you have the power to take the controls. You can look at the course you are on and decide if it's truly where you want to go. You can choose to change your altitude, adjust your direction, or chart a completely new flight path. This doesn't mean the autopilot system disappears. You will still feel its pull, its gentle nudges to return to the old course. But you are the one in command. This process of change isn't always easy. It requires courage to question the beliefs you were raised with, especially when those beliefs are shared by the people you love. It can feel uncomfortable, even disloyal. It requires you to be a detective in your own life, constantly asking, why do I think this? Is this my own belief? Or is it an echo of someone else's voice? Every time you make a choice based on your own values and conscious thought, rather than on an automatic conditioned response, you strengthen your ability to live authentically. You reclaim a piece of yourself. You move from passive recipient to active writer of your own story. So I encourage you, I challenge you, to start paying attention. Notice the subtle messages in the world around you. Listen to the automatic thoughts that pop into your head and ask where they came from. When you feel a strong reaction to something, pause and get curious about it. This awareness is your greatest tool. You are not just a product of your past. You are a creator of your future. By understanding the invisible threads of social conditioning, you can begin to consciously choose which threads to keep and which threads to let go of.